Sweet. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? Yeah. Brains fried yet? Hungry?
It's 10 o'clock.
Eat some popcorn. It's fine. All right. Well, I'm Kyle Bonneblust.
Travis Levette.
Travis Levette.
Sales manager, sports side yet. Kyle's down at the showroom.
We're going to be teaching on organization and efficiency today. As you guys can see here, we've got a little mountain to climb. So we'll reach the top of Mount Efficiency today for you guys. Excuse me. So let's get right in.
So our main objective today, guys, is to provide methods for you to help manage your day in order to basically hold yourself accountable to your commitments that you've made to your customers. So what we have done is created a presentation around our 10 keys to survival. As you can see, we've got Bear Grylls up there eating a heart, and then Cody and Dave down there. But it's a survival session. So we're moving to the top of the mountain with our survival keys. You know, it's hard for a human being to retain more than like 2 to 3 things. So we don't expect all of you to remember the 10 keys, but if you could take 2 or 3 of these and utilize those in your day-to-day routine and save yourself 5 minutes a day, when you exponentially, consider that across the company, it's a lot of time. It adds up. So, take 2 or 3 of these things, implement them, and hopefully, we'll be more efficient as a company. So,
See, we got 2 paths. Basically, there's 2 paths that
get
that
you
you
to
can
the
go
top of
down.
the mountain here.
Yep. Essentially, the first one, the do's path, is what we're going to teach you. Kind of incorporates those 10 keys to climb the mountain, and then you got your don't path. And really, you'll get there. It might take you 11, 12 hours a day, but you'll get there. So we just want to kind of highlight, best ways to make yourself most efficient. Turn it down a little bit. So just so you know, 2 paths. We'll kind of, like I said, we'll highlight them both. But this shows the 10 keys to surviving the mountain. I don't know if many of you guys are Price is Right watchers. Know what the cliffhanger is.
So the first one we've got here is do it. Second one's be prepared. I'm an Eagle Scout, kind of hits home the old Scout motto, so I just want to share that one. Stand up, control your email. You guys don't need to write all these down. We're going to pass out a handout, Kyle is. Basically take some notes on the 10 survival keys and use the ones that are most important for you. We've got stop multitasking, be in the moment, delegate, use appropriate communication, CLM, and attitude. Those are our 10 survival keys. So from there, we'll dive right into our first one. Or, actually, this is the wrong path. This is to avoid the avalanche, guys. There's so many things that go on throughout the day. Sometimes you can kind of feel buried. Hopefully, utilizing some of these tips, you'll find the day easier to manage. That person on the right totally got stuck on the mountain in the avalanche. They got frostbite. It's horrible. I could zoom in, but I won't. But hopefully, we can avoid you guys from getting frostbite. So, really, here's our first one.
Yep. Number 1, something that we actually struggled with the title of it. We changed through about 6 different ones. Be proactive, be prepared. That's obviously another one that we did.
Act immediately.
Act immediately. We just felt really, just do it. Something, not just do it because we're not Nike, but do it. Be proactive, do it. First things first, if you can do something yourself, if you can accomplish a task in just a little short while, do it. Get it done. It's going to save you a fire later. It's going to save somebody else having to talk to that same customer later, and then them having to do it, or them not doing it and trying to get back to you, and then somebody else having to do it. So if you can get it done, just do it.
I put often taking care of the most difficult phone call on your list before others. Makes your day go better. I've been here a long time. I've listened to a lot of voicemails and had a lot of days here. And when you come in and you listen to those, and there's one on there that's just horrible, and you dwell on that throughout the day, it makes you inefficient. Like, honestly, it distracts you. It messes with your attitude. Knock it off the list. I call it ripping off the Band-Aid. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it's got to get done. Just knock it off your list. So and do it before you do the other ones. You know, it's easier to put it off to the end of the day, but guess what happens when you put it off to the end of the day? That customer calls in, and they're going to talk to Melissa. Then Melissa's not going to know what to do because she wasn't really involved in the situation. She's going to send it to me, and I'm going to get pissed off. So if you can just tackle the first one, the hardest ones first, it'll make your day go better. So we've got a little video from 1980 something. 1987. But it still hits home. So it's Art Williams. He's a speaker, former coach, and a businessman. So I'm going to share that with you guys. From the beginning.
Okay. All right. Maybe.
The beginning.
I believe desire and will to win is everything. I don't know why I'm like I am, but my butt's always burning. There's always something say, Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to go far. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to make a difference with your life. What does a $500,000 a year person do that $50,000 a year person doesn't do? You look at the outside and study those two individuals, everything seems to be the same. They both are the same sex, they both are the same age, they have the same training, the same positions, the same contract, the same fringe benefits. They both are successful, they work hard, they're good family people, make tough commitments. But what's the difference? What does a $500,000 a year person do that $50,000 a year person doesn't do? He pays the price a little bit more. He works hard a little bit more. He's loyal to the company a little bit more. He bleeds in a little bit more. He makes money a little bit more. He saves money a little bit more. If you want to win in these United States, you got to be tough, and you can't quit. The last thing I'll talk to you about today in building this winning edge is, folks, if you want to win in business, you got to be a leader. Leadership is everything. You show me anything in these United States that win, I'll show you a leader at work. You show me a successful church, Boy Scout troop, club, football team, business, I'll show you something run by a leader. See, I thought at one time in my life you had to be smart to win. I used to have these smart people that dress so pretty and talk so pretty and use these big words. They just intimidated me, and I said, Art, you can't ever be that good. Why don't you just throw in the towel and go back and coach football for a living? And I found two things out about smart people. I think it's almost impossible for a smart person to win in business in America today. Because I find smart people spend their whole lifetime figuring things out. They're always trying to figure out an easier way and a quicker way. And another thing I found out about smart people is they just don't get around to doing nothing. And see, somebody like Art Williams, everybody said, well, he can't do it. And somebody like that can't do it. But he does it. See, folks, I want you to know almost everybody in America almost does enough to win. They almost get there. They almost are over the hump. They almost have it going. They almost, in everything they do, almost is a way of life to almost everybody in America. But the winners do it. What do? They do whatever it takes to get the job done. They do it, and do it, and do it, and do it, and do it, until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to be somebody they're proud of. We need leaders in America who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to go in business for yourself, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk in these United States. Everybody can talk a good game. We need people in America who can do it. I go all over this country with A.L. Williams, and I have people say, Art, you can count on me. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee this is my last stop. I'm going to win now. Super duper. Just do it. Art, if I can just have one good month and get the ball going, I know I can make it big. Super. Just do it. Art, if I can just pay off this debt, I could really go. Great. Just do it. Art, if I can just sell my house. Do it. But houses ain't selling. Do it anyway. Art, I'm not making any money. What can I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it, and do it, and do it. Art, I guarantee I'm going to win this contest. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm over the hump now. Watch my smoke. Great. Just do it. Art, I want to make it so bad I can taste it. What I do, you just do it. Art, I'm a vice president now. Can I quit doing it? No. Art, I don't know if I can keep on keeping on. I'm really hurting what I do. You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it, and do it, and do it. Art, somebody important. Well, what do it then? Oh, I'm going to save money so I don't have to go through this again. Great. Just do it. Oh, I don't feel like I've had enough training. What I do? You just do it. Oh, my manager don't give me no help. What I do? You just do it. Oh, you don't understand. I was Mr. Everything at my former company. You don't mean I have to start off down at the bottom and do it, do you? Yep, you really got to do it. All right, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it, and do it, and do it, and do it, until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to finally have achieved something unique, and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else, and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of and make a difference for their life. Thank you.
Thoughts on the video, guys? Any
He
thoughts?
says do it a lot.
Do it. Yeah.
Said do it a lot. Yeah, he totally does.
Yeah.
That's his message. You know.
So now, when you think about it, in the Southern twang, what are you gonna do?
Do it.
Do it.
You know, it applies to CLM as well. Log your calls, emails, tasks, and ops as you know of them. You know, instantly. It takes like 20 seconds to log a phone call, 20 seconds to log an email. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Put your op in, or the next customer's gonna, or the next rep's gonna do it. So that's our first survival key. Second one here is be prepared. You know, make a list. Check it twice. We just got past Christmas. So the simple task of writing a to-do list, it's really important. It can make you more efficient, keep track of the things that you need to accomplish. Personally, I have a Word document that I save on the top right corner of my monitor, and it's always there, and it says my master list, and I pile things on that and make sure they get accomplished. You know, I take them off as they get finished. You know, often there's a line out my door of people with issues, and it's hard to do them right away, but I can make the list, and I can make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. You know, and I think that is part of because I'm making a list. You know, be prepared is the key to the slide here. What we're talking about is our daily game plan. Some of you veterans have seen this before. What I realize is we don't have very many veterans anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and share this with all you guys. You know, Melissa's probably seen it, but basically we want you to have a structure for your day. It's easy to get distracted and to fall off of your routine, but if you have a schedule, you're more inclined to stick to it. I heard Jack Wiley say something yesterday that you know, it was powerful. He's been operating under the same routine for 35 years. He gets up, he does it every day. You know, that's his routine. Well, he's productive. He's been one of our most productive people at our company. He's been a sales manager. Now he's just a sales rep because he can, really. You know, but he operates on that same routine day. There's things that come up, but he can get back to that and accomplish what needs to be done. You know, I read a lot, and one of the things I've read, I couldn't find the actual book, but you're 90% more likely to achieve a goal if you write it down. It's powerful, guys. So write it down. I mean, write down what you need to accomplish on your daily game plan, and then watch yourself do it. I mean, it's just an interesting stat I thought I'd share with you guys. These aren't long-term goals, but they're short-term goals. You know, write them down. I encourage you to write your long-term ones down as well.
Yeah. And we're not saying, I mean, like with this, we're not saying that we're going to teach you, okay, everybody has to check their emails at 8:30 in the morning, everybody has to make their prospecting calls at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just, we wanted to give you some kind of structure. This thing is awesome. I mean, as you can see, it's kind of faded over time, but it, you know, used to be a basketball court. You got your things that you got to do to be on the defense, to get done, your to-do list, to be on the offense. You go through your structure. You know, it's something, if it's in front of you, you're more likely to do it, like what Travis just said. So what kind of what we want to do now? Kind of what we want to do now is just go through. You know, like we said, we're not trying to schedule everybody's day for them. But what are some things that you guys would put on your structure? Like, what are some to-dos that you guys would do during the day?
I put fires out first thing. So like the first half hour is just whatever came up the night before, emails, or that afternoon is just
Urgent orders?
so that way you have the whole day to get it through. If you're telling somebody you're something on my shift for that day, if you do it at 8 a.m., you have a full work day to get it done as opposed to waiting until noon. Now we got 4 hours.
Exactly. Perfect. What else? What else do you guys do?
Pencil in some prospecting time for new business.
Prospecting? Okay. What else? Tasks. Okay. Chris?
Emails.
Emails? Perfect. Okay. What else?
I even divide up my tasks for tasks for today and past due tasks.
Okay.
So it's kind of same thing.
Okay.
but Different times for different things.
Sure.
Different.
Chris, what do you got?
Probably, maybe you want to call it a task, but just following up with past customers for
Follow-ups?
orders placed or whatever else.
Right on. Okay.
As an account manager, I check orders that I fixed for my reps that had problems, and I check to make sure those problems didn't happen again.
Okay.
So I make a list of my orders that
Sure.
I did the previous day or previous couple of days, and then I check them
Okay.
throughout my day.
So you've got urgent orders that you got to do, fires, and you also just check on orders. Okay. Okay. What else? What are we missing?
Emails and voicemails.
Voicemails. That's another one. Yep. You guys are class number 3, and you've had the exact same things on your board, so that's it's always good to see.
Alternative projects that you might be working on.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Urgent orders. Matt hitting towards this earlier. What? How much time during the day do you guys? What would you typically spend on urgent orders?
More than a while.
Well, I mean, if you were to break it up during your day, you said you do it in the morning. Do you
Start
check
in the morning.
Do you check them again right after lunch?
Try to, yeah.
Yep. And then kind of look ahead at the end of the day.
Make sure they got where they had to be before you leave, so you can keep a customer an answer. Hopefully.
Okay. So, 30 minutes each time.
True. At least, yeah.
Okay. So we'll say 30 minutes a day. Prospecting. If we were able to set off a block of your day, what would be a good time to prospect? A couple hours? Hour, 2 hours? Okay. Tasks.
Like 3 hours.
3 hours to do tasks?
Well, it's been a lot more than that lately, but-
Sure. I mean,
Depends on how fast you do it.
Right, if you have like 40 a day or something.
okay. We'll put 3 hours. Emails.
It's like an all-day process, so.
Right. It is. And we'll get to that, disabling your pop-ups, doing that kind of stuff. Blocking off a time for emails. 3 times a day,
30 minutes each time.
30 minutes, okay? Follow-ups. This could kind of lead into the tasks as well. An extra hour maybe, okay? Check on orders. Lead in with follow-ups too. Okay? So we'll lump those together. Voicemails. We're kind of through the June to September time frame of the 5-minute long rants that we got in voicemails. So they're hopefully getting better. But, voicemails,
30 minutes.
30 minutes a day. Okay? Projects, that's a new one, Shannon.
Maybe like an hour a day.
Hour a day. Okay? And that's maybe not every day, but an hour a day. Okay? So urgent orders, we've got an hour and a half. Prospecting would be another 2 hours. Tasks, be at 2. Emails would be an hour and a half. Follow-ups on orders, hour. Voicemails, 30 minutes. 4.5, whatever. Where are we at? Somebody help me with math.
8.5.
8.5 hours? So Tyler in the last class approved everybody to work overtime? Kidding. I'm not saying schedule it so that you have to work 8.5 hours a day. But just putting a schedule to your day is going to make you a whole lot more effective. Rather than taking 3 times 30 minutes to do your emails, if you check an email as it pops up, that's what? Roughly 3 minutes to read it, act upon it, reply to it. But what's that doing to your prospecting time? Takes away 10 minutes for prospective customers that you could be getting orders from. So, if you take the time and structure your day to where you're able to go through and okay, in the morning I'm going to knock out emails. Right before lunch, knock out emails. End of the day, knock out emails. I mean, I know if Travis is sending me an email about how good the Celtics are doing this year, I can save that one till the end because it's not important. But I mean, just
Then I don't send it.
right. But just setting a structure to your day. Identifying those needs, identifying those things that you are working on, and putting a time to them. Not saying, I'll get to prospecting, because I used to do that. I would get to prospecting. And then it was Monday when I'd say I'd get to prospecting, and by Friday I'd call 7 people that week. It's just, if you put a time towards it, then you're going to be able to, you're more apt to do it, and you're more successful with it. So, with that,
Time management, though, is that it's a continual exercise. So it's a game plan for a reason. So it's just like in sports. If you're getting beat on the field, what are you going to do? You're going to adjust your game plan.
Yep.
And so a lot of that, this is 8.5 hours. The objective is to win at this, right? And to become more efficient. So it becomes about figuring out what are the things that I'm doing every day that maybe I don't need to be doing. And how do I take that out of my schedule? So part of your core was delegation, right? And so are there things that you may be able to delegate and partner with other people? Are there things that are more important than other things? And then prioritizing how to get those done first, so then at the end you have this available time to maybe do more emails or the things that you want to do. So I would just say that time management is an exercise, and it's an exercise every day that you should be adjusting and manipulating, because even as I'm learning with exercise, if you do the same exercise every day, so if you run every day, your long term may not be as good as you think, because your body needs to make adjustments to actually,
CrossFit.
there you go. So it's the same principle here, and so there's different times of the year where your time management will be different, because, like in Spirit right now, we're in a 6-month on, 6-month off cycle. And in sport, you're in every quarter type of transition. So it will look different every so often. So if you just go in with every day I do the exact same thing. Jack Wiley, he doesn't do the exact same thing every day. Jack just has the benefit of all of us that his 30-year calendar has been built, because he knows every January what he does. He knows every February what he does. But in January and February, Jack's not doing the exact same thing every day. So I think that that's just important as you start in the sales organization, if you're newer, that this is not a perfected science. It's something that you have to learn and grow every day.
Will second.
Here's our third one, guys. It's pretty simple, but I don't see very many people doing it. The people that I have seen do it have been some of our most effective reps. I think back to Melanie Joy. I've seen Aaron Fry do this. I've seen Brad Holliday do it. Kyle did it for a while. Doctor's orders, but basically stand up on your phone call. The simple act of standing up on a phone call will actually shorten the phone call. It gets you straight to the business. You're less inclined to be chit-chatting, and you're more inclined to be getting the work done.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say it also improves your posture, and your customers can actually hear that on the phone. Same principle as smiling on the phone. They can hear when you are slouched over. I call it a closed stance versus a confident stance. You're standing up, you get more air in your lungs. People can hear it versus when you're slouched over. They can hear it on the phone. Stand up; it'll energize you. We've got a short video. It's like 3 minutes. If you guys don't know about TED Talks, I encourage you to watch some of them. They're amazing. This woman speaks to the importance of standing up and walking in her day.
Yeah.
So,
And like what Travis said too, doctor's orders, I had a bulged disc, so I had to stand up. I couldn't sit down for 10 minutes at a time, so I had to stand up all day long. And we're not saying to stand up all day long, but just stand up during your calls. Basically what you're doing, and as Travis put, and as we'll touch on later with multitasking, you're taking your hands away from your electronics. I know I'm not the only one that's been on the phone with Stacy and typed an email to Sarah and called Stacy Sarah on the phone call. It's happened to all of us. Nobody's really shaking their heads, but I know it's happened to every one of you. So, it's just something, and then what's it do? It adds 10 more minutes. You look like a jackass because you called it the wrong name. So it's just, taking your hands away from your electronics, taking your hands away from your, trying to type an email or trying to do something else while you're talking to that person. What you do, you're missing the important information. What do you got to do? Then you have to call them back. You have to ask them the same question twice. They get frustrated. It's just more time. So taking your hands away, standing up, being engaged in that conversation, it's going to be faster. You're going to build a better relationship with that person, and you're not going to miss those key information. So that's why, and it's not every phone call, but, challenge yourself. Stand up for 2 phone calls a day to start with. See how much more effective they are to do that than it is to just sit down on every phone call. Whoa.
What you're doing right now, at this very moment, is killing you. Nowadays, people are sitting 9.3 hours a day, which is more than we're sleeping at 7.7 hours. Sitting is so incredibly prevalent, we don't even question how much we're doing it. And because everyone else is doing it, it doesn't even occur to us that it's not okay. In that way, sitting has become the smoking of our generation. And of course, there's health consequences to this, scary ones, besides the waste. Things like breast cancer and colon cancer are directly tied to our lack of physical inactivity. 10% in fact on both of those. 6% for heart disease, 7% for type 2 diabetes, which is what my father died of. Now, any of those stats should convince each of us to get off our duff more, but if you're anything like me, it won't. What did get me moving was a social interaction. Someone invited me to a meeting, but couldn't manage to fit me into a regular sort of conference room meeting and said, I have to walk my dogs tomorrow. Could you come to that? Kind of odd to do. And actually that first meeting, I remember thinking I have to be the one to ask the next question because I knew I was going to huff and puff during this conversation. And yet, I've taken that idea and made it my own. So instead of going to coffee meetings or fluorescent lit conference room meetings, I asked people to go on a walking meeting to the tune of 20 to 30 miles a week. It's changed my life. So now, several hundred of these walking meetings later, I've learned a few things. First, there's this amazing thing about actually getting out of the box that leads to out of the box thinking. Whether it's nature or the exercise itself, it certainly works. And second, and probably the more reflective one, is just about how much each of us can hold problems in opposition when they're really not that way. And if we're going to solve problems and look at the world really differently, whether it's in governance or business or environmental issues, job creation, maybe we can think about how to reframe those problems as having both things be true. Because it was when that happened with this walk and talk idea that things became doable and sustainable and viable. Thank you.
She walks for meetings, guys. I know we've got a lot of people. A lot of our meetings don't lend themselves to walking around, but if you're having a one-on-one with one of your peers or something, upstairs we've essentially got a track, around this whole building. And so, outside of the box, get outside of your cubicle, leads to outside the box thinking. It's just an interesting thought, and a lot of the articles that we read speak to standing up on your phone call and being more effective.
We were going to have a walking meeting today outside, but we felt that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we didn't think you'd all hear us, so.
The frostbite.
This kind of leaves us, I know I hinted on it this last bit, but control your emails. This is definitely something that, if everybody could key out one thing that probably bogs down most of the day, it's going to be the lovely Outlook. So figure out a way, like I said, structure your day to find those times to check those emails. Set aside the time, devote the time to emails, but other than that, try to stay away from them as much as possible. I know it's tough to do, but it's definitely, if you can do that, you're going to help yourself tremendously. On the back of that, the 10 Keys to Success sheet, there's actually a couple of how-tos. And one of them is how to turn off your email notifications. The little pop-ups at the bottom. You know, that thing.
I'm like, honestly, I can be having a face-to-face conversation with Kyle. If I see that pop up, I'm like a dog when someone threw a tennis ball. I'm instantly I want to completely disregard the conversation I was having, instantly starting on that email. And so I found that I'm more effective if I shut them off. I check them throughout the day, but I don't have the pop-up popping up constantly throughout the day to distract me. When I'm on a phone call or when I'm having a conversation with someone, we shut them off. I recommend you try it. I mean, it might not be for you, but try it. See what it does. Now, I'm not suggesting you don't check your email, but I am suggesting that you don't check it all day long. I mean, it'll own you if you don't kind of manage that process. So,
Another good one that Travis kind of introduced me to a couple months ago when we started working on this that really just blew my mind was the fact when you're looking at Outlook, in the top right corner you've got your calendar. If you take an email, say customer calls in, says, hey, I'm gonna need, or they email you, hey, I'm gonna need this on the 28th. You can drag that email to say the 21st or 22nd, drop it on that day, and it's gonna set a reminder for you. So, you know, this is obviously something personal that would work great for you, but all you gotta do is just take that email, set it, drop it, it's gonna remind you that day, and it's gonna be, fresh in your mind, so you're not gonna have to worry about forgetting it. So, use the power of technology. It's there for us. This is something that I just found out about, and it's amazing. I love it.
one other tip we put on the back of the handout, guys, is basically how to mark your inbox to default as your emails are not read rather than read. Like, if you touch an email, Outlook defaults it to mark it as you've read the email. And so what I'd find is I'd have a bunch of yellow emails, and then I'd scroll through them and they turn white, but I hadn't actually replied to the email. I just kind of touched it, like previewed it or whatnot. So by changing those steps on the back of that handout, essentially you can manage your inbox better. At this point, I try to open an email, respond to it, complete it, one time stop. Basically, the first time I open that thing, get it done. Don't have like 4 or 5 different drafts open on the side of my computer. It's one at a time. Do it and move on to the next one. It's really important for our account managers as well. I have access to all of those inboxes. You know, you can kind of see your workload off to the right. There's a preview, it tells you there's like 19 orders in there or something. Sometimes you'll open that and there's like 50 orders. 30 of them have been previewed, but not taken and worked on, or a manager went in there to just scope it out, and it's confusing to everyone. So I recommend you try it. My email used to be kind of out of control. I'd have a scroll bar daily, try and make sure you get caught up. You know, at this point, I don't have a scroll bar. When I leave the office, there are no scroll bars in my email. I delete it. When it's done, it's gone, and I move on to the next one. So, you know, just a tip that I've found very useful as far as setting up your Outlook. And we wrote on here, avoid everyone emails. When I say everyone, I mean everyone. It goes to everyone in the company. You are distracting a lot of people, so consider your audience. The Spirit customer, maybe we start with our Spirit reps, or if it's a Sport customer, we start with our Sport reps. If it's if they say they spoke with a male, put it in the subject line. You know, ask yourself, do I need to send this email? Have I done everything I can to find this out without, distracting our entire staff? So I know with the lack of CLM, some situations where you couldn't avoid it, and there's still going to be some, but ask yourself right before you send it, should I send this email? So hopefully those tips on the back will help someone. I've really found it helpful myself.
It just says a point of reference, if you send a sales email, it's $800 for every time that you send it to sales.
Wow.
Just from a time aspect.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Because was it 261 recipients, I think?
It's up there.
So.
That's crazy.
All right, guys.
Next, another one that I mentioned before, they kind of all wrap together. Stop multitasking. It's something that everybody thinks that they're an expert at, and everybody's a perfect multitasker. But in all actuality, you're really cutting down your efficiency. It goes back to standing up on your phone calls. It doesn't have to be that elaborate. But if you're on a phone call with somebody, don't try to type an email to somebody else. The Sarah Stacy thing. You don't want to keep doing that because then it, it's makes you look disorganized to the customer, and then it's just takes a lot more time than what's needed. So
100% without a doubt, you can hear it on the phone calls. I've listened to enough phone calls that, when you're talking to a customer and you're actively engaged with them versus you're trying to type an email or you're, leaning out of your cubicle to talk to someone else or whatnot, the customers can hear it if you're engaged. And so multitasking doesn't really lend itself to talking on the phone with the customer. We need to be actively listening to pick up on the cues, when their buying times are, to set the opportunities. And so we encourage you to stop multitasking. It's counterintuitive, but slow down, take the time, do it right the first time if you're going to do something.
one of the worst things to hear on a call review is when you're talking to somebody and you can hear this in the background, because not only you can hear that, but the customer can hear that too. So, it's just something that just shows the customer that, okay, well, do I have to, and then you're like, oh wait, you said that you wanted the blue ones, right? No, I wanted the red ones. So, it's just, takes more time, discredits you, so.
We prefer the term effective prioritizing. Multitasking is a made-up word. If you're effectively prioritizing your list of things to do, that's enough. You don't need to do them all at once. Just prioritize them, tackle them, move on to the next one. Look at the list. It's manageable. We can handle it. So we've heard from Ben and Andy. I don't know much about computers, but apparently even the most amazing supercomputer doesn't multitask. So they operate like thousands of tasks per second, I'm guessing, but it's not doing it all at once. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We've got a quick Starsky and Hutch comment down here just to remind you to do it right the first time, guys. Just do it and do it right the first time. It's like 30 seconds.
Seriously, do it, 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 Bacardi and Cola, do it, do it.
Anyways, that's our stop multitasking slide number 5, and this is back to our Jones path. This is something that you probably shouldn't do. I've walked around the office and I've seen that girl in the top corner. I swear, like she's sitting in a cubicle and she's got baskets everywhere. It was something that Dave Darling came and spoke to me about when I first started here a long time ago, and it kind of struck true. You don't need to look like that. Perception is everything. You're in a business world. Do you want your peers to think you're just completely out of control with your Post-its? In my opinion, if it's important enough for you to write it down on a Post-it, it should go on your calendar or on your tasks, or put it on a notebook that keeps it organized, but don't put Post-its everywhere. It screams I'm disorganized. Jensen might disagree. He uses Post-its quite a bit, but he's not here to defend himself. So, if it's up to me, I would prefer that we do not have Post-its all over our cubicles. We've come a long way since the old Post-it was created, guys. Technology's here. Use it to our advantage. Just a simple one, but think about it. Next time you write down a Post-it and stick it on your wall and you see all the other Post-its, they fall down, they get stuck behind your desk, then what happens?
Right. Next key we felt was a good one was to be in the moment. Tyler hit on it yesterday. Why it affected a lot of our home lives. We took a lot of work home with us during why, because that's, your brains are fried, so you had to go home and you had to do stuff too. So, finding that balance is definitely, it's tough. It's tough to do. I still struggle with it all the time, but it's, finding that and trying to stick to that is going to help you be so much more effective and efficient that it's worlds better. We put on here, one of the easiest ways to get distracted is to bring home with you. So, when you get to work, try to shut off home. We've got some other don'ts that we'll highlight later, but just try to shut off home as much as possible. When you get to work, do your work. We talked about making your list yesterday for today. So once you get to work, you can sit down, get it knocked out. We all have stuff that we have to do when we get home. Make that list. Make a list for home like you're making a list for here. not saying that you have to schedule out every hour of your day as soon as you walk in your front door, but make a list. You know, if you got to get groceries, make your grocery list. Make it over lunch. You know, at 5 o'clock when you clock out or whenever you're done for the day. Take an extra 5 minutes of that time when you're sitting at your desk, you're honed in, make your list of what you got to do. More than likely, you're not going to need the list because you'll remember it all, but just write it down so that you know what to do. But just
we talked about focus on the task at hand and just be in the moment, guys. On the phone calls, importantly, active listening when you're on the phone calls. Your customers can hear it 100%. So just be in the moment when you're talking to these people.
Using your team, you know, it's something. It's not. This isn't a solo mission to the top of the mountain. You know, we're not going to hit $70 million by ourselves. Matt might be able to hit $70 million by himself, but the rest of us can't. So we need a team. You know, we're all team players. We can all be here to help each other. So, as Miranda put earlier, you know, we highlighted on delegating. Use somebody else's strengths. You know, that's what they're there for. That's what their strength is. If it's a weakness of yours that could cost you 30 minutes to do something, when they can knock it out in 5, that's 5 minutes of their day that they're doing, but they're helping you by saving you 30. So, I mean, use your teammates, but make sure that when you do use them effectively and use them appropriately.
You know, we've been here when we didn't have a customer experience group, or we didn't have you know, account managers. It's way harder. You know, there's only so much time throughout a day. There's only so much that you can do individually, but collectively we can get so much more done. I'm not as good at writing orders as Lauren Zanika. It's a fact. So when I get one, rather than me put that order in, I send it over to her. She takes care of it. Important on here is that when I do send something over, I ask for help. I don't tell Lauren to put the order in. I ask Lauren if she could help me put that order in. I use please and thank you. It's just a common courtesy, a golden rule in the top. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. I mean, period. It's simple, but it's still very true. When you're asking someone to do something, you're tweaking your sentence by like 3 words, but you're getting them engaged, you're getting their buy-in to help you rather than you just demanding that they help you. Lauren would do it either way, I'm sure, but I would rather have her want to help than just me tell her to do it. So just a little tip on communication. Yes, ma'am?
And it does really make a big difference. I don't know about other people, but I do get orders where it's like, enter this. And I'm like, well, F you, not really gonna do it. I mean, I do it because it's my job, but then I get other nice emails like, hey, can you please help me do this? I don't understand. Or, hey, can you help me, can you show me? It really does make a big difference in my attitude towards how I'm gonna do something for you. I'm still gonna do it, but.
And it's really simple. I mean, you're talking about changing three, 4 words, guys. So just a pointer. You know, and if it's a simple change to an account or rejecting an artwork, just do it yourself. If you can get something done in 2 minutes, do it, accomplish it, finish it, rather than taking 2 minutes to type up an email. So, you know, if you can accomplish it right away, just do it. So, buy your account managers a pop or a snack or something, or a drink or dinner. Number 8 here we put is use appropriate communication.
Felt this flowed really well with using your team. You know, if you use appropriate communications with your team, you're going to be a whole lot more efficient. Not only appropriate by, you know, not using vulgarities all the time, but use appropriate communication by making sure you're thorough. Think through what you're going to say. Think through what you're going to send in an email to make sure that you have everything done. You know, one of the best things you can do when you send over an order is to make sure that you have everything listed out there. On the sports side, we've really seen this year in 2014. Basketball for us was down 35% this year. Crazy. But you know what was up? Other markets were up over 100%. So yes, some of that is good. But other than that, we started thinking, what's the correlation there? You know, we start sending over orders that say, hey, can we get these 40 performance tees, blah, 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 blah. If it's just a generic logo that doesn't have a basketball on it, maybe that person doesn't know when they're entering an order that it's for basketball. So what happens? They put it in under other. What does that do? It shows that we're down in basketball. What's marketing say to that? Do we need to spend the money on catalogs for that? We'll scale back our catalogs that are going to that. So I mean, it's not just you with the appropriate communications to the person who's helping you. there's a long trail that this leads to. So, I mean, make sure you take the time, you're thorough, you're sending one email, you're not sending a quick like, hey, can you do this? Well, then they have to send back and say, well, what about this part? Oh yeah, do it this way. Okay, well, what about this part? Oh yeah, do it this way. You know, how much time is that wasting for both of you guys? So make sure you're thorough, make sure you've thought it through, include all the information you can. If you have too much information, that's great.
You know, I read an article in Success Magazine, and there's a company that they do not allow internal emails. If you have something that you need to communicate to a peer, you walk over and you talk to them. We're not going to go that far, but what I do suggest is that when you've got urgent or really important issues that you need to communicate with one of your peers in this building, go talk to them. It's the most effective form of communication. The nonverbal, you know, they pick up on that. You're less likely to get mistakes, and if it's important, you know, we're a minute away from our spirit partners on the other end, and vice versa, our customer experience. Stand up, go talk to them, have a conversation, rather than send an email and then back and forth you get it misconstrued and whatnot. So, yeah.
I feel like that goes a long way with our customers as well. Like instead of playing this email tag back and forth the entire day, emailing back and forth, maybe ask them when's a good time I can just give you a call, we can get it knocked out.
Exactly.
So.
Dave Dryden was in here earlier, and he's a big advocate. If you sense emotion in an email, like if there's an exclamation point, if there's emotion going on, pick up the phone and call them. It's so much easier to get things accomplished rather than to send back an email. I mean, even if they're all fired up and they're mad, guess what? It's easier for them to yell at you on an email than it is in person. Call them up, and they're going to treat you as a person. They understand that you're sincere rather than versus just sending over an email. So I know it's hard sometimes, and you'd rather send them the email, but rip the Band-Aid off. It's going to hurt just a second. Get it done. And Sean, I made a good point earlier as well. Like, it goes from our inside to our outside too. So when you're on the outside and you get these emails, it's hard to read tone. It's just a fact. So pick up the phone and call them. Leave them a message. They appreciate it. They like to hear from us. Just a thought, guys.
My most favorite is I know when people are in Wyatt all the time because you get the email that's in all caps.
Yeah, right.
Are they yelling at me or are they in Wyatt? I can't tell.
I'm instantly on the defensive when I get one too. Like, wow, they're yelling at me. Why are they yelling? So.
I got a very nice email from Art with a link on how inappropriate it is to write in all caps. That was lovely. I didn't send an email back because I was angry.
There you go. Never send them when you're angry. I mean, type it out maybe, then delete it. It's like going to a shrink, but you don't need to send it. No, I've done it. I've sent them, and trust me when I say it's much better not to send them. You know, I'd send them on a Friday afternoon, and then think I might lose my job all weekend, basically, and then come back in the morning. And, oh, it's good, but just don't do it. It's not a good idea. So,
kind of leads us into the rest of our don'ts. You know, obviously we put it on there because we feel that's very important. Not send an email when you're angry. Texting and Facebook, you know, we're not your parents. We can't babysit you all the time. But, you know, in terms of a coach, you know, if you've got 2 hours a day to practice with your team, do you want to spend 15 or 20 minutes of that time getting them to get off their phones? You know, is that most effective? Are you learning new plays? Are you becoming more efficient as a team if you have to worry about babysitting this one kid in the corner who's texting his girlfriend all day? No. Ties back into that work-life balance, work-home life. Shut it off, man. You know, you've got breaks, you've got time, you can get up if you're going to get water, you can knock out a text real quick, that's fine, but, you know.
I think of Facebook as like opening up a newspaper almost, you know, for your friends. And so you're at work. If you're on Facebook, you're essentially sitting back with a newspaper, reading information that does not pertain to your job whatsoever, guys. So, you know, in an effort to be more effective and efficient, just try and cut it down a little bit, you know.
It's the same principle as the pop-up of your emails. If you're not going to have a pop-up of your work email coming up, why would you do the same with your Facebook? It's the same thing,
Exactly.
concept. It's an interruption to time management that you said you were going to work towards. So.
We put on here, kind of comedically, walkabouts. Everybody knows what walkabouts are. I mean, it's great to share wins. We've got the bells, you know, we've got sports side, we have a cow that we can squeeze, you know. We've got the things to where you can celebrate, but if you just got off the phone call and you go up and you turn to the person next to you and you tell them about that phone call, well, chances are they just got off a phone call as well. So then they're going to tell you about their phone call. And chances are that next person just got off a phone call, so they're going to talk to you too. So, you know, you have 8.5 hours worth of stuff to do in an 8-hour day. Taking out 20 minutes to talk about somebody's hair that they just got bleached isn't going to help you. So limit your walkabouts. You know, Travis put it good. Imagine that you have like 4 quarters, 4 actual quarters, and you have to get up and go put one in a piggy bank if you're going to go tell a story. You know, so you've got $1 a day that you can go, and you can get up 4 times. You know, obviously we're not going to give you guys $1, and we're not going to limit you to $1, but just think about it. You know, because you know you're not wasting time, but how much time are you taking away from not only yourself but everybody else when you do that? So
Gets back to time management.
couple more, we're almost there. Here's our Wyatt spiel of the day. We know you guys are going to get hit hard with that the rest of the day. So CLM, I mean, you know, we put it towards the top because not only does it help yourself, but it helps the entire company. You know, by working on that, you're increasing the productivity. You know, it's log your calls, log your emails, log your tasks, log your opportunities. What that does is, you know, my customer calls in, gets Melissa. Melissa doesn't know what happened because I didn't log my emails. I don't have an opportunity. So then what she has to do? She has to either 1, send out an email to all male reps to figure out who talked to this person, or 2, try to send me an email to get the information. I send her something back. Okay, do you want to touch base with them? Do you want me to? You know, so then you're taking up more time. So, you know, it's something that got released to us as a toddler. It's growing, it's maturing, we're getting better. It's getting better, it's going to keep getting better. So just keep trying to use it. We need to get that usage rate up. That's our soapbox about CLM. So,
Guys, our last key to survival is attitude. I mean, attitude is everything, in my opinion. It's pretty easy to get down on yourself after the things we've been through. I mean, reality is, it's not what happens to us, it's how we deal with it. It's one of my favorite quotes. You know, stuff happens to everyone, not just you, not just here, not just this company. I mean, things happen. It's how we handle them. There are more important things in the world. It's just how you handle the situations as they pop up. You can handle it however you want, but try to keep your composure. Try to have a good attitude. Control what you can control. We can't control it. You know, you can't control it. It's out of our control. The programming stuff, you can't do anything with it. So don't stress about it. You know, worry about your customers. Worry about the things that you can control. Be solution oriented. Last we want to talk about smiling on the phone. It makes a difference. We've got a 40-second clip or something. It's awesome.
42.
Attitude is key, guys. Those are our 10 steps. You know, again, we don't expect you to remember all 10. But if you can take something out of this class that will save you 5 minutes a day, compounded by every rep that's attended this, you know, that's saving our company a lot of time and a lot of money. And so hone in on 2 or 3 of these things, guys. Whether it's the Outlook or whatnot, you know, we've provided some methods that should help you be more productive, be more efficient, and hopefully manage your day a little better. So thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah. You guys have any questions?
Thank you.